This wasn't just dinner, it was a calculated hit. In this video, we're not talking about the Beckhams, we're talking about Meghan Markle's malignant narcissism, in my opinion, and how inviting Brooklyn Beckham and his wife to her home was a strategic way to hurt Victoria Beckham. When a narcissist can't confront you directly, they come for your image, your peace, and your people. In this video, we're going to break down the psychology here behind this headline and why this wasn't a coincidence, it was a message. But before we begin, here's the intro. Welcome to Revealing the Narc. Join me as I highlight narcissistic traits in celebrities and public figures. Everything here is in my opinion and not professional advice. If you enjoy the analysis, please like and subscribe. We're going to go through this article that was recently published in The Telegraph. But before we dive in, I want to say this. My goal with these videos isn't to play tabloid detective or confirm every detail of a celebrity headline. I'm not TMZ, and I'm not here to dissect the validity of every claim. What I am here to do is use these stories, especially the ones that spark strong reactions, as teachable moments. Because when we view them through a psychological lens, they reveal patterns that many of us have experienced in our own lives. Whether or not every detail is accurate, the dynamic is familiar. And that's the point. These videos aren't about who's right or wrong in a celebrity feud. They're about learning to spot toxic behavior, emotional manipulation, and narcissistic patterns so we can better recognize them in real life. The article we will be looking at is titled How the Royals Were Dragged into Brooklyn Beckham Family Feud. Wives at the center of Prince Harry and Brooklyn Beckham's estrangement rows find common ground at Montecito dinner. They were not dragged in. The wives at the center, common ground at Montecito dinner, that's Meghan's house. Meghan was not dragged in, and we're going to get into that. I actually want to start by looking at one of the last paragraphs in this article. The heading says, Long-standing royal relationship. The Beckhams' tangled relationship history with the royal family is long and complicated. Well, it didn't become complicated till Meghan came in the picture. But anyways, okay, it continues. Brooklyn Beckham was just 13 when he last met Harry at an awards ceremony in 2011, almost 15 years ago. And then the article says, David and Victoria attended Harry and Meghan's 2018 wedding, but the two couples later fell out amid claims that Meghan had accused Victoria of leaking stories about her. So this is what I want to focus on. I've mentioned in other videos that I believe Meghan is a malignant narcissist. One of the defining traits of malignant narcissism is paranoia. A deep, persistent fear that others are out to harm, undermine, or betray them. In Meghan's case, I know that some people wonder whether her paranoia is genuine or simply a tool she uses to manipulate those around her. The truth is, both can be true at the same time. I believe she does experience real paranoia, but rather than manage it privately or reflect on it, she channels it outward, using it to justify controlling behavior, push others away, or compel people to act on her behalf. In this way, the paranoia becomes both a psychological experience and a powerful manipulative strategy. So going back to Meghan and Victoria, I absolutely believe that Meghan truly believes Victoria is leaking stories about her. This leads into Meghan's grandiosity, that she believes herself so above Victoria that Victoria would need to leak these stories of her in order to become relevant. And if in her mind she has these feelings and beliefs about Victoria, in my opinion, she sees Victoria as a rival, not just in success, not just of social standing, not just of financial well-being, but also for the ability to grab the headlines. Let's go to the beginning of the article. It starts, for Brooklyn Beckham and his wife, the invitation to a catered soiree at the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's Montecito home came somewhat out of the blue. Beckham had not seen Prince Harry since 2011, and his wife is never thought to have previously met either Harry or Meghan. In other circumstances, such an invitation might have passed largely unnoticed. Exactly. Exactly. Why hasn't this invitation come? What makes this situation even more telling is the timeline. Megan once stayed at the Beckham's home in Los Angeles, so there's a shared history, a sense of familiarity. And to me, that makes the situation even more telling. If this was a genuine friendship, why wasn't Brooklyn ever invited before? And this is what we'll get into. This is strategy. When a narcissist wants to make a point, they don't just speak it, they stage it. The article continues, but with both couples engulfed in bitter public rifts with their families, and Brooklyn's parents, David and Victoria Beckham, increasingly close to the king and queen, it has prompted great intrigue. Only adding to that intrigue is the fact that the Princess of Wales happened to attend a fashion industry event this week dressed head to toe in designs by none other than Victoria Beckham. I don't like these two statements. It feels like this article is trying to quietly justify Meghan and Harry's sudden dinner with Brooklyn and Nicola by framing the Beckhams as having switched sides. The mention of Princess of Wales being dressed in Victoria Beckham's style and the Beckhams getting close to the king and queen, it doesn't feel neutral. It reads like a subtle attempt to paint the Beckhams as part of an opposing alliance. If this came from Meghan's camp, it only reinforces her paranoia. The idea that every social shift is a betrayal and every relationship must be countered or reclaimed. The article continues. Similarly, the unexpected Montecito dinner invitation came at a pivotal time. The Beckham's family dramas have dominated headlines in recent days after Brooklyn and Nicola failed to attend any of David's lavish 50th birthday celebrations. Their absence was all the more conspicuous given that they were thought to have flown in from Los Angeles to the UK last week. Well, doesn't that sound like people we know? The article then says the timing is pure coincidence. I'm not buying it. The article continues. While it was an intimate gathering, there were several additional guests, including VIPs and film executives. Brooklyn and Nicola had a wonderful time and found Harry and Meghan to be particularly kind, caring, and generous. The article then says, no surprise then that the two women found a lot of common ground during last week's extraordinary dinner. The Duke, too, acutely aware of how isolating it feels to live more than 5,000 miles away from your family amid a bitter, ongoing rift, offered his unwavering support to Brooklyn Beckham, according to The Sun. The two couples reportedly swapped numbers, perhaps aware that few others had walked in their shoes. If they're at their dinner table, why are they swapping numbers? How did they contact each other to begin with? That's really confusing. The article then says that Nicola and Meghan also had a bit of a deep and meaningful. Why is it written like that? It's an informal, maybe text message type. That's strange for that to be written that way. Anyways, going back to the article, it says, as obviously both women have been positioned in the media as homewreckers, question mark. Who wrote this? The women to tear apart their husbands' families. What? What in the grammatical errors is happening here? This sounds like it came from someone who's text messaging. Like the source is someone that was texting with the journalist, and the journalist just copied and pasted it here. Odd. Very, very odd. And I'm going to end reading the article on this note because I'm ready to get into the analysis. It says, Meghan had a lot of sympathy for her and said there was shared common ground. They didn't meet in relation to recent developments and headlines, but it was an honest but very welcome coincidence. The lady doth protest too much, methinks. I'm going to get into why reading this makes me feel like this is malignant narcissism. The first is it wasn't random, it was surgical. Meghan hasn't spoken publicly to Victoria Beckham in years. She knows there's a rift in the Beckham family. Inviting Brooklyn and his wife to an intimate Montecito dinner at this exact moment doesn't read as organic. Malignant narcissists often target people they feel slighted by, and they don't always come directly. They hurt you through people you love. The second is that it's not about friendship, it's about optics. Megan doesn't have a meaningful, long standing friendship with Brooklyn or his wife. She's not randomly inviting other disconnected celebrities over. This invite only makes sense in terms of optics and messaging. The story made its way into the press quickly, as if the goal wasn't the dinner, it was the headline. Malignant narcissists don't just seek revenge, they seek control of the narrative. They hurt you publicly while hiding behind plausible deniability. The third is that the timing stings, and this is on purpose. Brooklyn and Nicola skipped David's 50th birthday events, which were widely reported as a painful blow to Victoria. Within days, they show up smiling at Meghan and Harry's dinner with film execs and tabloid coverage. Even if the invite came before the party, Meghan knows how it looks, and that's part of the power play. Malignant narcissists understand emotional leverage. They know what hurts, and they time their actions to maximize the impact. Megan has done this before. We've seen her malignancy, how she discards people left and right when they no longer serve her image or challenge her control. A key trait of malignant narcissism is triangulation, pitting people against each other, controlling who's in or out, and exploiting loyalty as currency. And I'm going to go deeper into triangulation after this fifth point. And that final point is there's no emotional logic. It's just strategic cruelty. Why bring them into your home of all people? Why invite them now and allow those details to be leaked? Why frame the dinner as an emotional moment of shared battle wounds with two people you barely know? Because malignant narcissism isn't about genuine connection, it's about control, spectacle, and the illusion of compassion while quietly hurting your perceived enemy in the most disarming way possible. The bottom line, this wasn't about kindness. It wasn't about healing. It was about sending a message without ever having to speak to Victoria directly. And that's why it feels like malignant narcissism. It's targeted, performative, emotionally cold, and brilliantly disguised as empathy. Let's get into triangulation. At its core, triangulation is about control, dominance, and emotional leverage. It often looks like aligning with one person to alienate or punish another, creating or exacerbating conflict to position oneself as superior or central, and then enjoying the chaos and attention that ensues, often while pretending to be innocent. By befriending Brooklyn and Nicola while the Beckhams are reportedly estranged from them, Megan may be inserting herself as the cool mom type figure or the emotional safe haven, recasting herself as the one who understands, the one they trust, or the one who swoops in when others fail. Symbolically, she's saying to Victoria, "You may have built the empire, but I can take your son." Malignant narcissists often experience pleasure in the pain of others, especially rivals or perceived rivals. And in my opinion, Megan sees Victoria as a rival. If Victoria is hurting or humiliated, a malignant narcissist would savor that discomfort. It's not just triangulation, it's emotional conquest. Malignant narcissists often play the long game. If this story gets out, it serves as a silent but brutal strike, one that doesn't require direct confrontation. It's elegant cruelty, it's emotional chess, it's image manipulation as retaliation. She doesn't have to say a word. The message is clear. You're losing controls. Your kids like me better. This is not just petty, it's predatory. It's emotional warfare disguised as brunch, and it tracks exactly with the pattern of image based manipulation and interpersonal sabotage often seen in malignant narcissists. I'm interested to know and what you all think about this. Please drop it in the comments. I don't know if I was pronouncing Brooklyn's wife's name correctly, so I apologize if that was annoying if I wasn't pronouncing it correctly. If this video was interesting to you, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you'll know every time I drop a new video. I want to thank you all so much for listening, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.